I owe Glenn a lot for where I am today, and I'm going to share two stories with you that I'm always going to remember. And so the first one was the day that he told me I made the national team in 2008. For those of you who know Chris Green, when the team was in Winnipeg and maybe even in Calgary, he was a huge part of the national team being where it is today. And so I come into the office for my exit interview after a grueling tryout, and they're bickering and they barely see that I come in. But anyways, I sit down and Glenn looks at me and he says, "Well, Andrew, congratulations, you've made the team." And I'm like, "Andrew, you sure you got the right guy?" But anyways, it kind of started off a really interesting relationship between him and I, because I feel like I came into volleyball at a good time because I was a decent blocker, serve was okay, but attacking, if you look at other teams' game plans, it would have been, let Simac get us 3-4 balls a game because he's not going to do much else on the attacking side. So, Glenn was, I think, very much, well, he was a better attacker than I was. He was also goofy-footed, if you didn't know that. But he saw something, and he was able to, along with a lot of other people who've helped me along the way, kind of get me to the career I had. And the second one I'll tell you is, it's not, doesn't really have anything to do with this. I just think it's really funny for how kind of a revolutionary Glenn was, for lack of a better term. So we were playing Turkey in an exhibition game, and he was walking between two courts. I wasn't playing particularly well that day, but I guess none of my teammates had the heart to really call me out and say that I was playing like crap. So he calls a timeout, and then he comes up and he's got this vein that if you see on TV, it kind of goes boonk. He's angry. So sure enough, that thing was coming out, and he says, "Hey guys," he looks at everybody but me. "You have a mole on your team. You have a double agent. You have somebody who's playing for Turkey." He looks at me, and he's like, I can't repeat exactly what he said, but he's like, "You're an effing mole." Sorry. I played better after that. But he had the really unique ability, and still does, to kind of motivate everybody. But anyways, I'm getting off track here. So I'm going to start by doing blocking for the first little bit, and then I'm going to do some attacking after that. But here's the big thing that I see right now. We're just talking technique at first. So, and you'll see it with our guys too. When we're in system, you'll see a lot of hands down here. So this probably works at the club level. This might work at the university level. But when you have Dimitri Mrazerski on the other side of the net coming at you, if he sees you like this, he's just gonna be like, oh, dinner. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be up here like this, because then it's really difficult to move either way. But the big thing that I'm trying to tell these guys is, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing, but you have to have your hands somewhere where they can intervene in the middle if you're reading, if you're only reading. If you're committing, it's a different story, but if you're reading, I'd like to have your hands kind of palms facing out at least shoulder height. The second thing is, again, differentiating between in and out of system. So out of system, we're here because we know that we're probably going either way, but in system, there has to be a clear difference between what we're doing. And then here's one other thing that I see, and you might see it today, because I'm going to run things. I'm basically going to run a bit of a practice, and I'm going to be kind of coaching the guys through it. So you're going to see me that they've already got their thick skin on, because I might be pointing out a few things with them. But here's the big thing that I see that I'm really not a fan of. So there was this Brazilian middle blocker, Gustavo, who once I figured out that I could actually do something with volleyball, I started following a lot. And his thing was, okay, I'm going to come, the setter's got the ball, and then I jump, and I go either way. The problem with this is that I have yet to see somebody who's as good a reader in the middle as Gustavo is. So what I tried to do instead was, I would be balanced in an athletic stance, but instead of actually jumping, which you have to be right, because you have a lot of momentum that you have to tell which way to go, and you don't have a ton of time to do it. But what I would do is, I'd think of the floor as a place of a ton of stored energy, and I'd say, okay, if I'm going up, I'm going to use all the energy in the floor to go up, and if I'm going sideways, again, I'm going to try to push myself away from the floor a little bit, if that makes any sense, and get outside. So Gustavo Hop, not a huge fan. Guys, you can start to get your legs going here. Just get some blocks. It's all right. I like it. Take your time. Okay, and the other thing, I guess while we're talking about technique is, it was either Graham Vigrass or Rudy Verhoof that kind of helped me frame this properly. One of them one day said, soft shoulders. And if I'm at the net and I have all this tension because I'm okay, I gotta block the ball. If I want to move, I've got to relax first before I can move. So have to give one of those two guys credit because they said, soft shoulders. So I don't know how else to say it. I don't want you guys coming up feeling me one by one to see how just soft my shoulders are. That'd be kind of weird. But so I'm relaxed. I don't have a better way to do it, to say it. And then from there, then I can access that speed to be able to move from side to side. So that was actually something I would say every single time at the net. I'd be here, all right, what do I have? Okay, soft shoulders. And one more thing, this is my barometer for how much room I had at the net. But okay, we're gonna kind of get into this right away with the first drill. So guys, you can bring, and this one is not on your sheet. I made a small switch. So you can put one box. Let's put the two boxes right here. Let's keep it about 1 meter off the net, but we'll have it here, and then you can just put them even further off. So any box drill that I'm doing, I like to put. Joe, you can put the same things over there. I like to do a couple of things. I like to put the box a bit further off the net. Then you could have one box right here, and it's great because the ball's gonna be right in your hand. But as you get to working with guys who are more physical, like these guys, they're getting over the net. So I want the boxes off the net because I'm really gonna force them to go and find the ball. So this is a great drill. You guys can all come over here one by one. Joe will get you on one box, and maybe Tias, if you want to go in this box right here. Let's go to Nav and Jackson. You go first. Maddie, you and Louis, just making sure that no balls are coming under here. So Jackson, you're going to start in front of Joe here. Okay. So what they're going to do is, I'm just a big component of middle, in my opinion, is just working your butt off. You're not going to get a lot of recognition for what you do, but you have to have the capacity to work. So this is going to be one where A, we're getting the feeling for the ball, but B, we're also going to work a little bit. So Joe and Matthias, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, good. Okay, so Matthias, you're going to start. Jackson, backwards. Joe, you're going to start. Jackson, you're going to block the ball. You're going to go out here, block Tias, go back for Joe. Tias, so 6 balls in total. And then Nav, you're going to go right away. I want us to pay attention to his footwork here as well. So you need a good big first step here. This is something we're working on with Jackson. So go ahead, Jackson, whenever you're ready. Okay, so 6. We're gonna go ahead, Nav. Jackson, we're gonna go again after. I want to fix something. Keep going, 6. Come on, guys, we're the smartest guys in the court. All right. This is Nav's first day back at practice, dealing with something before, so that's your free pass right there. All right. Okay, so here's one thing I want to switch with Jackson right now so Jackson was, I'd say, out for a Sunday block. Nice, comfortable, and I've seen Jackson when he's at his best, and you're scary, man. Really scary. So what I want you to do is now aggressive block like you mean it. And it's that good first step, and then those 2 steps here. So you're gonna see some similarities between blocking and attacking with me. It was not easy for me to get off the ground. So I always had to think of last two steps. So with these guys, I want their last 2 steps to be as dynamic as possible. Again, pushing yourself off the ground. I want 6 for 6 here. Go get the ball. Don't let these guys score. Don't time it. They'll time to you. Go. That's it. Come on. Keep going. Don't time. Go to them. That's it. Good. 6. That's better. Again, this is Working on the feel of the ball in the middle blocker's hands. I think Nav's he's a great instinctive middle blocker. Where he has to work on, and what we've been trying to do with him this summer is the finish on his hands. Let's get the other two guys, Louis and Matt. Let's go. So yeah, with Nav, the thing we're working on with him is finishing with the hands. You can see he's there, but he's got his hands kind of outside his shoulders a lot, and so he's touching a lot of balls, but his finish is not really there. So Louis, let's see what you got here. That's it. That right hand, press over, 2 ball. That's better. Finish back into 6. That's it. Good haircut too, Louis. Attaboy. He looked a lot different yesterday. He looks fast today. I like it. Okay, so Matt's an interesting one. Just before, I told you I was going to do this, Matt. I'm sorry. But so Matt played opposite this year. So the big thing we're trying to fix with him is he likes to block middle with kind of an outside hitter footwork, and he actually is doing not a bad job of it because he's so long. So if we can get his footwork going with that first step going in the direction, it can be dangerous. Keep going, that's it. Okay, Louis, let's go one more time here. So just one thing to think, hold on. One thing, like, don't wait for him to hit the ball back in your hands. I want you to go get it. You take it out of his hands, I'll buy your coffee. Okay. All right. That's it. That's better. Go get it. Good hang. Not finished from over. That's it. One other thing that I really like about this, go ahead, Maddie, I'm going to talk while you go, is it forces you, well, you can see if your middles are balanced or not when they land, because there's a big change in direction that has to happen right away. And so our guys are doing a pretty good job of that, so I think that's not bad. Good job, Maddie. Good job. Okay, here, let's there's a blind blocking drill on there. Well, I want to touch on that for a second. I'm not going to do it, but I was asking these guys this week in practice. I said, what do you look at? And it was really neat because I got a lot of different answers. I heard everything. The only answer that is wrong, I think, is looking at the ball. I heard guys looking at, from the waist up. I saw guys saying they only watch the hands. I saw guys watching like from rib cage up. So as I kind of put this together, and I was, what my version of middle blocking looks like, it was, I found, and I actually, Shane, because he helped again put this in context for me, is having a broad focus when you're blocking is going to, kind of help you see what's going on. Because if I'm on this side here, and I'm really looking at one thing, I've kind of got the blinders on to everything else. So while I am looking at the hands and the upper half of the setter, you could say, or the full setter, but I'm not so focused on that part that I can't see what's going on around me. Because I found that when I would look at my attacker coming in and give him like a full glance, I missed a lot of information that was happening from the setter. Because there's a lot of information to be absorbed, and you have to be in a place where you can look at it. So for me, it was always a bit of a broad focus, and just, okay, I can see what he's doing over here. If something else is happening with the outside, somebody else is going to call something, and I'm going to be able to adjust from there. So this might not be in the Volleyball Canada manual of how to do things, but I don't look at the hitter. I just see him out there. Next one we're going to do here, we're just going to start, we'll go with the first two guys again that we had, and we're just going to work one side right now, but we'll have one guy, Matt, you're told, you can be on the other side just holding a ball. And so what we're going to do is, we're just going to jump in, like a little hop in the middle, and then we're going to go outside. You guys are both going to work. Actually, you know what, Jackson, you can go right first, and Matt can go left in the first one. And let's watch their footwork. We've seen what these guys are good at and where they can improve a little bit. So let's watch. Go ahead. And hitting into six. That's it. Nice. Okay. That's it. Go a little high now. Lead with the hands. All right, before Jackson goes for his next one, this is also something that we're trying to work on with him. So his blocks are pretty spectacular because he's so high and he's so over. What we're trying to work on with Jackson right now is getting him from a position where he's going up, because this looks great. You go up and you slam it, but your time of intervention on the other side is extremely small. So what we're trying to work on with him is, as he jumps, and he's a very physical middle, so he jumps quite well, is getting him over, leading with his hands. As he elevates further, the hands go over even more. And we'll call it time of intervention on the other side of the net is greater. So even if he mistimes it, he's still there. He comes down, he's still there, he's still there. But he has the potential to have a really big time on the other side of the net, making life difficult for the other hitter. That's it, big hands too, big hands, big hands. That's it, Navi, good boy. Let's just do 4 each. Okay, so let's switch the other guys. So Neves and Louis can come here. One thing that I know it's tough to teach at the start, but I would love it if younger coaches would teach swinging your arms when you block, because I don't think my wife's going to watch this, so I can pick on her a little bit, but when she was playing at University of Manitoba, I saw her play in the middle, and she'd be here, or she'd kind of go like this or like this, which you're going to be there, but your height of intervention, again, is not going to be super high. So what these guys are doing a really good job of is getting that big arm swing and going over, because that can give you so much more lift. And that's kind of a small wish of mine, that youth coaches would teach the arms, teach the swing in the arms. It doesn't even have to be like a big thing like this, but if I'm here, compact, I go this way, my arms are staying kind of close to my sides, or elbows are staying close to my sides, and then up from here and over. So that is a small wish of mine for coaches coaching youth. So you guys decide who's going which way. That's it. So keep going, guys. That's it. So Louis is interesting because Louis is a bit of a smaller middle, so Louis doesn't like me, I don't think. But go ahead, Joe. What he's got to do, being a bit smaller, is make decisions quicker. So, Rudy Verhoef would have been a guy when I was playing that would be kind of in that same mold, where you can't read against big Russian guys because, you can't. You're not big enough. So Louis has been actually having a lot of success this year of making up his mind, making a decision, and then going from there. Okay, let's go back to the first group. I want to flip ahead here a little bit. So now we're just going to do the same thing, setters. I'm going to get, we'll take left sides, maybe, can I get to you guys, just catching the ball? So we'll have one guy with the ball back in let's say about 7 meters and 6. One of the setters here. And we need somebody catching the ball over both boxes here. So I like this progression because now it's like a very kind of closed skill, and you add reading. I think blocking is a lot about reading, so I try to incorporate as much of it as I can. It was something that Joe actually suggested last year, which I don't know why I didn't think this before, because it was a great idea, yet so simple, is anytime you're working with your setters, put your middles on the other side. Have them just, they don't have to jump, but just have them move. Have them practice moving. Either way, they kind of really dials them in as to what they're looking at. So here, you can we'll just start with good passes right now, and again, set it far, and then you're only looking at the setter for direction. Then as soon as you have the direction, you guys are looking at the box for timing. Okay, let's go 4 each. Right side, finish with that right side. You're facing out here. Facing out here. Come to the 6. So here's, if I'm on the other side, go ahead, Jackson. I gotta wait. Now I gotta wait till you come back. Go ahead. So if I'm going against Nav, go ahead, you were before. Okay. So again, Nav's been out with an injury for a while, so this is his first day back. So I'm glad to have him today. And I think you're very courageous being out here, knowing that you're not close to your best. So that's off for that first of all. But what I do if I see a guy with his hands down like this, and I'm on the other side of the middle, I'm going, look at his hands. Give me the ball. 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 I'm gonna beat him. Give me the ball. It doesn't matter if I'm a bad attacker. I can beat him. Hands are down here. So again, what we're working on, there's no one size fits all, but it's just you got to be somewhere where if there is a middle attacker, you can still go up, because he's a fantastic reader. He has he has an absolute feel for the game, but just getting those hands to somewhere here, that would be my one small fix to make on you right there. That's it. Just go for each, just for each. All right, let's get the other two in here, but I want you guys to, we're gonna change a little wrinkle in this here. So, the perfect pass happens sometimes, but you have to get your middles able to go from different passes. So what I'm gonna get the toss to do, I want you to either, you can bring it up to 3.5. Let's keep it along the net for right now. But in our system, the Team Canada block defense system, we don't want our guys coming right here, because if I'm the outside blocker, I'm already here. One thing I would say is that these guys know that they have to be big on their primary responsibilities. So little step over, just kind of ready, but also ready for the long distance, because this is often the most difficult one to do. And you can see the inexperienced middle blockers will typically go here, and then, you can drive an 18-wheeler through the seam right there. So what I want these guys to do is, if the pass is moved, you can take a small step, but also ready to go the long distance here. Mind you'll have a blocker on the outside, don't kill him. That's it now. That's it, man. Lead with the hands, lead with the hands. See what you did there? Go over, cutting. So this is kind of, Matt, I'm glad you did that, because what you see a lot of blockers, especially young blockers, do is they try to go here, and when I'm facing that way, problem, the ball's gonna go back there. Trying to do this. So I played against Joao. I played with him actually 1 year in Turkey. First of all, he's probably one of the best receivers I've ever played with, and Dan Lewis, don't strike me down for that. But I think I used to have a decent serve. I can count on one hand the number of times I aced him. Well, actually, one was last year at a camp when he was stone cold and I was demonstrating for you. So sorry about your back for that one. But the other thing is that Joe was so good at seeing if I was even just a little bit like that. He made his money finding ways to use my block as kind of a piece of wood. There's a different word for it. It's not coming to me, unfortunately. But plank, that's what it would be. So he sees it here, he's using it, blocks going out there. So what we're telling our guys is, even if you're late, get over wherever you are, leave the seam. You do this, when you're going to get to a certain level, and it is going to be impossible to play defense around, because the hitters are going to have a field day. So try not to reach, straight over. Let's do one more each here. That's better, man. Good, Louis. Yeah, that's okay, good. All right, I want to, this one is actually also not in your program, but just kind of my mind's going and I'm thinking about stuff to work on the vision and the broad focus. So let's get the first two guys back here. Don't need the setters right now. I'll just take, you know what, Tom, you can come over here. So you guys are both looking forward that way. And what Tom is going to do is Tom is either going to point this way to you, Matthias, or this way to you, Joe. So the idea here is to be pretty still on the box. So you can't look this way. So you have to really think about having kind of that soft, broad focus here. And try to pick up. I don't want you guys to slap the ball or anything. I just want you to throw it up, give him a bit of extra time. But it's going to be his job here in the middle to find, we'll say you're out of system for now, so you can have your hands down if you want, but you've got to find out, and now what, I guess you trust your hands. All right. So go ahead, you can point out the way. That's it, okay. Let's go about 5 each. Let's get a good tempo here. Just careful, remember you're going to have somebody on the outside. Try to go straight up. That's it, good job. Hey, that's going over with your hands, that's perfect. That's, whoa. Ah, Navi's guilty here. See what you guys would have a perfect view being back here. Nav comes out here, he's there, but then he goes like this. And you know, Joe was telling me the other day that he got stopped. Well, you know, I think I'm putting words in your mouth right now. But okay, I got a lot of blocks just by not being there. I go over wherever I was. Hitters don't think like that. They're like, oh, I can go cross. That's why they're not a middle, because they can't think that, okay, I can leave a gap and I can go stop. So actually, I can't pass it, so I play outside. Oh, good read, Navi. Good read. That's it. See, you just fly past, you go too high, that's when they get it. Well, hey, best right hand of the day for you right there. Fantastic. That's okay, let's flip here. Let's try this. Neves and Louis, let's go. Let's just go 4 each on this one. I want to move on a little bit. That's okay, we can dig that. You go as far as you can, you get over. Good. Let's go 2 more each. 2 more each. Good touch. Good. Okay, here, let's guys grab a quick drink. Setters, we want to take the boxes off, and we'll do a bit of attacking after. So, blocking is hard. The thing that middle blockers have to realize is you are on a perfect pass. You're going to be wrong more times than you're right. And I don't mean this because you're guessing, but it's going to be impossible to be where you need to be on a perfect pass, because advantage is the offense at that point. But one of the things that we've been getting into a bit lately is decision making. So figuring out if, and I hope your knowledge with the national team is okay. We'll say let's say I'm back out of retirement. I've got TJ here, and I've got, let's have a blast from the past. I got Fred Winters here. So I'm here, and I'm looking on the other side. They've got their setters back row. So I have to make sure that I'm always protecting TJ, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to go with the weakness. I also know Fred's a pretty good blocker, so my thinking is going to be good situation. Okay, I got to take care of my man, but I'm also trying to protect TJ. Although TJ is fairly physical. Maybe Dustin Schneider will use him as an example. So he's even smaller. So I would tell Dustin, be a small target on the line, and I'm going to be here. This is really going to test my reading, because I'm also going to trust that this guy's going to help me. Anything in this gap right here, if I'm ready here, okay, goes out there, then I'm always here with Dustin. I got smashed if I didn't do that. So as much as thinking about what's coming at you, you want your middle blockers eventually start thinking about who's beside you. So, all right guys, we'll take you back here. Let's warm up hit, but before we do that, I'll explain some of the philosophical stuff as we go along here. But big thing for middles, you guys, the pivot of the offense. we're out of system if we don't have a middle attack. So what we're going to do here is, you know what, we should probably hit this way so we don't bomb it into here. But the big thing, and this came up a couple weeks ago, is the middles, you have to be able to defend your area. I find it crazy when, and I'll get you to throw in the balls for this, but I find it crazy when middles won't want to play the ball that's right here. You know, you've got to, at some point you're going to have to be able to defend your area, because if you're just standing here and you're like, well, okay, you get it, I'm not going to touch it. The court becomes pretty big at that point. And one other thing, well, actually, you know what? Let's warm up and we'll go from there. So Joe, you guys are gonna start at the net. Let's just do 3 in a row. But we'll keep going here. I want you guys to get warm. Let's do at least two sets of 3 each. So Pat, back off, pass your own, and hit. So we get to work on passing our own, and then we get our legs going. Joe, let's just start in the middle here, and you can back off. And okay, I see. Go 3, 2 sets of 3. After 3, switch up. That's it. Make sure we audible if we're off the net. But what I want you to do is I want you to notice the difference between when they're backing off the net and they play with their hands versus their forearms. So you can keep them inside the 3 meters. You can keep them nice and short inside the 3 meters too. So I find that when you pass the ball with your forearms, you're already down almost in your approach and you're ready to go. So I'm already on my first step, and I can go 2 steps from there. Versus if I go with my hands, I pass it, and then I have to start going like that. So I know middles typically don't love to use their forearms, but if you can train it, you can really make the court smaller in terms of the amount of space that's available. That's it, Luke. Yes, let's do another set of, you guys been standing around. Let's get our legs warm. Talk, that's it. One thing we try to really stress with them is balls off the net. You know, setters typically, when they have an idea of where you're going to be, but if they have that audible signal, it really makes their life a lot easier. Let's cut that. Everybody's gone twice? Okay, so Joe here, I'm going to take the bucket for this one. I want us to, let's just work in groups of 2 here now. So one of the things, and this is from the mouth of the guy up there and also TJ. We had a really interesting conversation a couple weeks ago where we're talking about the 31 philosophy. So what I really don't like is when teams try to hide it. So let's say, Matt, you're my setter. So I'm in, and it's, okay, I'm 31, I'm trying to run from here. What's the problem if I'm going this way? Where's my momentum going right now? It's going there, right? So if there's two projectiles going, we might not meet till we're over here. If we do meet in here, well, this is very difficult on the shoulder to think about going back there. I've got probably into the blocker, and I've got out. So what we're trying to do with our guys, and this is, if watch Brian Vagras this weekend, you're going to see that he does a fantastic job of this, especially in transition, is we're like, stamp it on your forehead. Who cares if they know you're going 31? The thing I want you to do is, I want you to go hard at that 5 corner. So I'm going to go right through where Joe's standing. So I'm here, and I can cut it off early to 5, or I can let it go a bit to one, or you can even hit it to one back from here. So I'm shortening the distance, which is in turn creating a time problem for this guy, because he has to make up his mind that much sooner as opposed to the ball that's going out there. So let's just work 31 guys for right now, and then let's just go. No, you can start from off. It's okay. You can start from off. Yourself. And off the neck, because I want to just do it on the first. Yeah, let's go 3 in a row, then we'll switch. Jackson, you can come over here, ready to go. That's it. I set Tom. That's okay, Louis Knapp, let's go right away. So this is a big change we're trying to get Jackson to make, and he's pretty patient at it, but I think he's also really opened up his 5 angle by coming in like this, because I think he's naturally very strong internally rotating, but he's really been posing a problem for our defense with this hard 5 shot. A little far now, a little far. Go into it. That's it, nice swing. That's it, all right. It's a loop. In your sleeve, or like that. Okay, so now we'll go back to the first 2, but so now and again, pay attention to this weekend. What we like to do is, let's say Tom's pushed back over there. I've had some coaches who'd be like, you do not set the 31 here. Coach Bulgaria was my coach in Lyon, Silvano Prandi, and he ripped our setters' heads off for doing that. Even though I scored, I probably hit it off my thumb and it maybe went over the net, but it worked. So what we're doing to combat that is, we're already here, so what we're telling our guys to do is, come into it. You're hitting it, once you hit it about here, so the distance is a bit longer, but because you're coming into it more, this is going to be a bit of a tougher shot, but we're really going to, again, cause this guy a time crisis. He stays there. We have quick red, quick C ball. If he is kind of shifting over a bit that way, well, we have the gap right here. So let's work both good passes and push back here. And you guys have to make the read based on where the pass is. Yeah, you can do that too. Sure, why not? That's it. Stay off the net. Now there's one thing missing here, which I haven't heard yet, is I haven't heard anybody, when the pass is off, say something that I'm here. Because again, that audible sound is going to really help the setters here. The reach, that's going to score. Okay, let's go Navi and Louis here. So this time what Joe might put in here is, Joe might put in the pass here. And again, we don't want our guys going over here, because the problem here is, well, what can I set right now? I can't set the black anymore, or the ball position 4. So we have our guys audibling almost like a 51, or even if Tom's back a half step, we're kind of a 41. But the big key here for middle is talk. Do what I've been doing way too much of in this session. This is what I wanted to see. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm picking on you right now. But see what happens when we get too far out here is, we're now, well, if I'm here, you're running right into my kitchen. So for me, it's easy. I can just hands high. If they step over, I'm gonna go out here. So really attack that gap. You don't want to end up on the outside of that 3-meter line. Yeah, nice reach. Nice reach. That's beauty. Great shots those last 2. Fantastic. Try to cut one. Sharp to 5 here. Sharp to 5. That's it. That's all right. Jesse's away. That's it. Okay, here, let's, I want to put everything together here. Guys, can you bring the boxes back? Let's put a box in 2 and box in 4 here. So we're gonna, we've kind of seen how these guys are in terms of blocking forward, but let's see how they look when we add an attack into the mix here. And the one thing we haven't really talked about yet was the 61, but typically the first thing you want to be doing is middles be available. And so when we get off here, you want to be obviously, I'm skipping some steps here. So I land here, I want to obviously be opening up to the court and get off as quick as I can. And then, 31's a great option for me. I don't think we really need to force anything else. Same thing, we go the other way. We have 2 61s that we run. We have the 61 where we're following. So again, Matt, if you're my Tom, if you're my setter, I'm coming off the net here. I've got 61 where I'm on Tom's back, and I'm right here. And then there's also one to the spot. So let's say Tom's pushed way over there. We just, again, we're concerned about running into the gap. So we have the 31 for the gap between 2 and 3. Now this one is basically like a 31 behind almost, where we're coming here and he's setting it, and it is our job to be a hitter where we are going to cut off the ball. So we can either cut it off early, go back this way depending on what the blocker's doing, or we can let it go by and get here. But the big thing as a setter, what you have to do is you can't try and loft it in. You have to say, hey bud, time to earn your money, be a hitter. So what we'll do here is we're not going to put the setter in right away, but Matt, you can come on this side, and Jackson, you're with Matt first. So you guys just pick a side. I want you guys to go block the ball. So guys who are not in, we have to shag like we've never shagged before. Get the ball. I'm going to control the second toss, or I'm going to control the second ball. So you're going to transition and hit off of me, or Joe, you can actually do that. Yes, would be a good idea. All right. So if you go this way, Colm, you're going to start in 2 right there. If you go the other way, then you can transition out. But you just let the guy in the box know which way you're going. Let's just go 4 each here. Let's get off. Okay, so that might have been. So again, this is what we're stressing with the guys is in a stadium where there's a lot of noise going on. You can't be mice. Again, you got to let the setters know what you're doing. Stamp it on the forehead and scream it. Jackson, go block again. Stop. So you see what happens when you add in the attack is the blocking kind of falls apart, where half an hour ago, Jackson was dynamic. Jackson was big. He had that good first step, and he went over and he got the ball. Now it's like a stop along the way that I have to do instead of saying, well, I'm going to enjoy my time there and make his life miserable. So go block the ball first. Go get it. Go get it. That's it. That's it. Good. Better. Let's be great on both balls. Great on both balls. Good job. That's it. How many times have you gone? I go one more. Just go from the block. Just go from the block and get off. That's it. That's it. Good last 2 steps coming back into the ball. Fantastic. Yeah, go again. Stop. Come on. I want you. No turning like this. Get your momentum going in the other direction. That's better. Okay, let's go Navi and Louis here. Let's one thing that let's try here is sometimes if the pass is here when you go this way, let's try to run that 60 to the spot. So you guys are just gonna have to say gap. You can say gap. I think we've been saying. I believe. Yeah, gap. Let's go gap if you go towards Jesse. A little far, Nav. A little far. That's it, Luke. That's right. A little far fading off. Come into it. That's it, Luke. Good boy. Good, Navi. That's it. Nice. That's it. Hey, good way to shoot those hands over quick, even if you're late. That's nice. Okay, let's add one more thing on that. How much? Oh, all right. Okay, let's throw a setter in now. So let's have all you guys on this side. Do we have enough guys to? Freeze and Tutu will take you guys for shagging here as well. But Louis, come over here. Nav. Let's just go one at a time here. So we'll have one setter. We're just going to basically add in the read here again. So we'll need one setter on that side. You're just going to be setting past the boxes. One guy catching over here. And let's just go cycle one through. I don't want to waste your legs here. But again, so you guys make the read off where the set is going, block the ball, and then get off to transition here. Okay, so yeah, that's my fault because I wasn't clear. But remember from before, we'll just use the set as direction, and then look at the box for timing. Okay. Yeah, and we're transitioning off the hit. Let's take it off. Okay, so this is actually Navi was pretty quick there, but here's something again you'll see this weekend. Graham Bygrass is he's probably the best Canadian middle right now. And one thing he does really well is in transition, probably don't have as much time as this. So when he comes off the net, he might only get to here. And what he's really good at doing is just pushing the ball. Just going up, it's like the dirty tip basically. So he's fantastic at that. So if Joe kind of accelerates and you guys don't have enough time to get off, let's really work on that push, that dirty tip here. Because that's gonna score. Good stuff. Challenges it. If you can hit it, go. But just we're in 3 now. Yeah, let's do about 4 each here, guys. That's it. From the start. It's a little far even. Make sure you end up inside that task. That's it, Luke. Boy. Again, that's the last 2 steps for him. That's great. You don't need a big approach all the time. Kill made possible because you talk. That's nice. That's nice. Hey guys, grab a drink, grab a drink. So, again, you can see what happens when you put everything together and how the quality suffers, but this is fairly game-like, you could say, because there's a lot going on. Like, again, I talked earlier about the work and middles having to work, and you've got to work here. Like, this was our practice for today with them, so I'm just doing it on the microphones. Hey guys, thank you for allowing me to be a little bit picky. So, these guys are fantastic, and I think it takes a lot of courage to do what they did to be able to have some small faults kind of exposed for everybody here. So again, thank you. But I think that's really all I have in terms of content. Did anybody have any questions? Anybody? Yeah. We could, absolutely. That'd be a great addition, because then this guy would see pretty quickly that if I'm trying to hit the ball right here, it's real tough when I've got a guy who's in my landing zone. So that's a great addition. You can I was just focusing on the middle, but I might steal that from you. So what's your name so I can give you some credit? All right, thank you. I like that. So what I was telling him, was it in the last drill? Okay. Well, because again, when I added the attack, you can see that the block was it was something they had to do, and as opposed to something where you could still make some gains and get some quality out of it. So what I told Jackson is I said, nicely, I said, that wasn't good enough. Because your footwork, you were cutting some corners. So I told him, I said, let's be real with what we're doing here. Let's do the proper footwork. Let's get a good step outside, and let's be a presence out there. So I kind of, yeah, well, because he was just, it was just kind of going through the motion a little bit. And the reason I don't like to let Jackson go through the motions is because I've seen what he can do when he's not going through the motions. And he's a scary guy to have to face when you have somebody who is committed and somebody who is over the net going, I dare you to get past me. So it was just that, make sure he's doing it properly. Yeah. Me, no, because again, I typically know what I'm running before the play, and I don't really think that deception works. I mean, I found playing Korea, playing Japan, it took a little bit of time to understand what they were trying to do, because they had guys going this way, going that way. But I'd rather be great at going in and saying, I'm coming in and I'm going to make you make a decision. Again, it's that time crisis that we're talking about. So if I'm coming into the balls, the floating away, I'm trying to take him out of the equation a little bit at the blocker and 2 on the other side, and I'm forcing this guy here to make a decision, say, if you don't front me, well, I'm going to bang it in that gap, and if you do, well, I've got a great setter over here who can find an opening somewhere else. So I find that, again, when I said the middle is the pivot of the offense, if our pivot is there and coming into the ball as opposed to kind of maybe sliding away, which I would see this do here, then I just think it's that much more of a problem for the middle. So again, I don't try to deceive. I just want to be really good at what we're doing. So, does that answer the question? What else? Now my current mental state on the sidelines is But before, when I was playing, it would be, and this is actually something I really hope that you challenge your athletes with, is ask them what they're thinking about, ask them what they're looking at. And so for me, it was, I'd have like this pre-flight checklist before every point. So it'd be, okay, who's beside me? Who's serving? What are they likely to do? What's our game plan? Who do I have attacking? And is pipe an option? When we played the US, they run such a fast pipe that we basically treat it as a one tempo. So if I'm jumping in the middle, I'm also jumping on the pipe as well. I didn't have time to go up and down. So I'm thinking of that stuff here. Thinking on a good pass, what's the setter likely to do? What has he done before? So it's something that takes a lot of practice, but the more you can get your athletes to think about, okay, what's, building that logbook in their head of what happened, what might happen. It can only do good things for them. But I was thinking of all these things, like my middle, where does he like to hit? 1, 5. And again, it's just the more you can get them thinking, like they should be absolutely exhausted mentally after a game. During the play, I found it's tough to think. If you do a really good job of preparing for the point, then you should be able to go instinctively at that point. And that's what I would stress. And it's actually something that we talk about depending on the skill, is prepare really well. Be great at preparing for the point, and then play. Because you can tell the guys that are thinking mid-point, because it's the steam coming out of their ears and so prepare. And again, it's something that it took me a long time to do, but the sooner you get your kids thinking about it, the better it's going to be when they get to the higher level. Yeah. Yeah. As long as they can stay off the net and close the block. We're kind of working through that right now, and again, we haven't been together for a long time, but we have to find a way to close the block first of all, especially on the triple blocks. And the big thing we're running into right now is some guys like to take the big swing, and then the third guy is, well, your feet are in the way here. I can't get in there. So right now we're kind of going through that process of figuring out what kind of swing can we do. So I'd say first thing is, especially on the double or triple block, get the feet there, and then start to add the swing, because the more you can have that swing, the more of a presence you're going to be on the other side of the net. So I realize you're probably looking for a black and white answer, and I think I gave you something gray, so I apologize for that. Anything else? Well, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate your attention.